$16.15 trillion. That is how much debt American households owed by the second quarter of 2022.
10 years, I've had to have at least 3 jobs.
Did you know, despite being one of the wealthiest countries in the world, many Americans are struggling to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck and feeling like they're falling behind? Yes, reality is more twisted than stories. In this video, we'll explore the double-edged sword of hyperinflation and recession, which has had a significant impact on the economy and the lives of millions of Americans. We'll delve into the root causes of these economic challenges and how they've contributed to the current financial struggles faced by so many in the U.S. But before we start, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any important economic scoop from us. Inflation has been a growing concern for Americans, particularly those in the middle class. The rising cost of living has made it increasingly difficult for middle-class families to maintain their standard of living, as prices have been increasing at a faster rate than their incomes. According to a report by the Congressional Budget Office published in September, middle-class Americans have been particularly hit hard by the recent surge in inflation. The report found that prices increased faster for middle-class households than their income, while households in the lowest and highest income groups saw their income grow faster than prices over the same period. While wage growth for the middle class is currently high by historical standards, it has not kept pace with the rise in the cost of living. In December of last year, the cost of living was up 6.5% from the previous year, making it increasingly challenging for middle-class families to maintain the same standard of living as previous generations. A separate report by Prime America, which surveyed households with incomes between $30,000 and $100,000, found that nearly 72% of middle-income families feel their earnings are falling behind the cost of living. This represents an increase from 68% the previous year. Additionally, 74% of respondents reported being unable to save for the future, up from 66% the previous year. The Making Ends Meet report by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau highlights the growing financial strain on middle class and the need for policymakers and businesses to address the issue. To alleviate the burden, some have called for policies that address income inequality, such as raising the minimum wage and providing tax relief to those in lower income brackets. Despite rising prices, households are slow to adjust their spending habits, leading to a strain on their finances. Many Americans are turning to savings accounts or credit cards to bridge the gap, leaving them financially vulnerable in case of an economic shock. In light of these financial challenges, it's no surprise that many middle-income households are feeling the need to prepare themselves for a potential recession. According to the report, 62% of middle-income households are taking steps to get financially prepared, such as cutting back on expenses or increasing their savings. In addition to this, the latest Gallup poll suggests that the American dream may be fading, particularly for the middle class. The poll tracks Americans' assessments of the next generation's likelihood of surpassing their parents' living standards, and the results are discouraging. A staggering 59% of middle-income Americans believe it is unlikely that today's young adults will have a better life than their parents. This compares to only 48% of those with annual household incomes under $40,000 who feel the same way. While there are no easy solutions, it's clear that action needs to be taken to address these issues and support families in achieving financial goals. This might include measures such as financial education programs, access to affordable credit, or government policies aimed at reducing income inequality and supporting the middle class. But what if I tell you that even rich Americans feel poor? It may seem hard to believe, but some individuals in America with an annual income of $500,000 can still feel poor. While this may sound absurd to some, it's a reality for a few. Let me share a couple of examples from my circle of acquaintances. A doctor and a software engineer with a combined income of $400,000 had to relocate from their hometown due to the cost of living. A lawyer and a journalist with a yearly income of $300,000 compared themselves to their middle-class parents and find their lifestyles lacking. This is becoming increasingly true in America, as individuals with considerable incomes still feel financially inadequate. It's a reality that should be acknowledged. The rich poor are a growing social group who perceive themselves as poor despite their wealth. They struggle to save money, live paycheck to paycheck, and fear losing everything they have built. The ongoing tech layoffs have only worsened their insecurity. Well, in this time of hyperinflation, it's a common feeling that people don't consider themselves rich, regardless of their income. In fact, only 12% of Americans see themselves as wealthy, and surprisingly, 29% of millionaires don't feel rich either. Additionally, many individuals feel disappointed with their current financial situation. A study found that 60% of respondents thought they would be more financially secure by now. Worries about money can be all-consuming, leading to confusion, frustration, and impulsive financial decisions. It's essential to make decisions based on a sound, long-term plan rather than emotions. Inflation has also contributed to the perception that money isn't going as far as it used to. This is because, in reality, it isn't. Even individuals with high incomes are living paycheck to paycheck. The current inflation has caused many Americans to cut back on their spending. In fact, a recent survey found that 80% of respondents are making sacrifices due to the rising cost of living. Interestingly, this number slightly decreases to 75% for wealthy Americans. Executives have received pay increases to keep up with the rising cost of living, while many middle-income individuals have stagnant salaries and are being forced to use their pandemic savings. Although affluent people may worry about inflation, they are still considerably better off than those in lower income categories who have to stretch their money to meet basic needs. Well, it's a very complicated issue with deep roots in our economy and societal structures, but one of the key factors contributing to it is the widening wealth gap. Basically, what this means is that the top 1% of American households hold a lot more wealth than the rest of the population. In fact, a report from the Federal Reserve found that in 2016, the top 1% of households held 42% of the country's wealth, which is a big increase from 33% in 1989. The growing gap between the United States and other developed nations is a serious issue that needs to be addressed. The social safety net refers to government-funded programs and services that can assist individuals in times of need. But many Americans lack access to these programs, such as universal health care, paid family leave, and affordable housing. Additionally, wages for many American workers have remained relatively stagnant in recent decades, making it difficult to afford basic necessities like housing, health care, and food. This gap can make it difficult for many Americans to achieve financial stability and can lead to financial insecurity and stress. Speaking of health care, did you know that the United States has the highest health care cost of any developed country? This can make it really challenging for many Americans to afford quality health care. Unfortunately, this often leads to financial insecurity as people struggle to pay for medical expenses and may even have to forego necessary treatment. Another problem is the shortage of affordable housing units in the U.S. This makes it difficult for many Americans to find a place to live that they can actually afford. As a result, many people struggle to pay rent or mortgage, and even some end up homeless. All of these issues contribute to financial insecurity and can have a serious impact on people's lives. The financial instability faced by many Americans is a complex issue, influenced by various factors that make it difficult for them to make ends meet, leading to feelings of poverty and insecurity. To address this problem, policies that address root causes, such as raising the minimum wage, affordable housing, and reducing health care costs, must be implemented. Furthermore, offering financial education and resources can assist individuals in managing their finances better and making informed financial decisions. What do you think? Do you think Americans will get rid of this problem very soon? If you have any thoughts or opinions on the topic, we encourage you to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos on the latest news and trends in technology and business. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.